You're listening to Heroes in the Moment. What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And I'm Nathan.
Today, we're breaking down the She-Hulk finale.
Finally, baby.
Finally.
9 episodes in.
Emphasis on the finally.
Yeah. Finally, more like a finale.
Oh, I like that beat.
I'm telling you, I was rapping, in the werewolf one. I'm rapping now. I'm telling you.
You should just
if
sign
this
with
doesn't work
Eminem or
out,
something.
I'm just
join and
I'm going
be
big.
featured with Eminem. I like that idea. That's great. But I mean, She-Hulk finale, man, it's been a trying 9 weeks, I will say. I mean, this show, crazy. But I will say, this finale, I'm not saying it was necessarily good.
Yeah,
And I'm not
or
saying
that
it was necessarily bad. And it definitely didn't
for
redeem.
sure.
However, it was such a crazy episode.
Yeah.
Such a twist and throw and curveballs. I was shook.
And we're paying attention, right?
I was
I was fully expecting, honestly, nothing, to be honest.
Right.
Hey, man, my phone, remained out of my hands. So
I agree.
W
Me
Marvel.
too. Me too. So for sure. But like, it's hard for me to describe. It's like I enjoyed the finale, but didn't at the same. Does that make sense?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, it's weird.
Well, listen, I felt that way for the beginning part. Like, honestly, as it was going along, I was thinking to myself, like, I kind of like this, even though I realize it's stupid.
See,
but
didn't.
Once I started explaining it, I started liking it less.
Really?
So I know we're probably opposites on that. I'm not.
Yeah,
listen,
we
I'm
are
not
opposites
saying,
on that.
I realized that they tried to make a mess of that beginning half, but I think some of it might have been I was excited to see it go.
Right.
Like, honestly,
you wanted
I'm
to see
like,
what happened.
Yeah.
Well, you have to admit though, some of that stuff was just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh no, it was gosh awful.
Oh yeah,
I'm not,
for sure.
I'm not justifying
horribly,
it. That's
yeah.
just how I felt.
That's interesting because I'm definitely the opposite. You're right.
Yeah.
But, wow. So I just got to talk about the beginning because honestly, the beginning was absolutely terrible. And obviously, they make a joke of it later. But still, I mean, having the main bad guy be, that's Hulk King, be the one dude. I don't even want to know his name. So, don't even. I don't even remember what it was. And him turning into the Hulk, and that was dumb already.
Yeah. Was that how it started? How did the episode start?
Well, the episode started with the Pug and Nikki wanting to go and infiltrate the intelligentsia meeting, and then, of course, She-Hulk being in prison, and then Inhibitor, which is stupid anyway. Oh, wait! We got to talk about the opening, because the opening actually went hard.
I'm about to say, we got, there's some juicy stuff in there. Like,
there is a lot of juicy stuff.
Before we get to the whole...
Before we get into it.
and so...
The beginning was actually super awesome. I love the beginning. Like, the first, I don't know, I guess it was 3 minutes or so of the intro at the beginning, which was like the old... 70s Hulk show. I don't know. Have you ever seen the old show?
I have not.
I loved the old show.
I saw comparisons on Instagram.
It was very similar. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
It was awesome seeing that. And of course, you had Jen and Mark Ruffalo in that one scene.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't want to see me when I'm angry. That was so fun. And I love that intro. I will say that was a big highlight of the episode. I love that they did that. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. For me personally. What'd you think?
I thought it was dope. To be honest, when I first watched it, obviously I knew it was different, but I wasn't exactly sure what they were alluding to. Yeah. Right after the episode, I started looking around. I'm like, oh, okay. That's a great what. Right. A great way to nod to old 70s. What's come before.
And that was a
70s.
Very popular show. It is a very good show. I'd recommend it to anybody. I mean,
really?
It's cheesy for sure, but I loved it.
I'll check it out.
I enjoyed it for sure. It's definitely very different from the comics and stuff, but made for people that age and
Yeah.
But it was super cool to see that very much nod to the old show. And then of course we see Jen in prison in the most stupid way because she should not be in prison.
Listen, man, we talked about this a little bit last episode. We did. I want to spend some time on it. Like just the sheer idiocracy, dude, of the government. I mean,
so dumb.
She's placed literally in Abomination's cell.
Yeah.
As She-Hulk. I mean, as Jen. What was stopping her from just transforming?
What was the purpose of her being in prison?
Listen,
for breaking
that's a max security prison.
She's obviously not going to kill anybody. Like, she hasn't done anything wrong. She's not
Abomination
like she
was committing like freaking war crimes.
Exactly.
I
mean,
she punched a TV, and I know they can say, she's a danger, she's a threat. She lost her control.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the law is all about innocent to proven guilty. She didn't even have a court date, as far as I know.
And
they just threw her in a max security prison.
She's a legitimate lawyer
for breaking a TV.
And then Mallory comes in. She's like, the other girl lawyer person, and she was like, "You're in deep trouble."
Listen,
I'm like, why?
This episode would have benefited really well if there was like Spider-Man No Way Home. They don't even show a legal scene, But like the first, like little bit when all that stuff is going on with Spider-Man, it's scene by scene by scene, but it explains like what's happening. Like he gets taken in, questioned, all the stuff with the police, the legality. We don't get to see any of that. We just see her sitting in the max security prison for breaking a TV.
And again, she's legitimate a lawyer.
Yeah, so she could have like done something, lawyered her way out of that.
Exactly. Instead of being like, you need to be inhibited. You can't Hulk out anymore.
Yeah.
Shame.
Let me just sign this thing that says I can never be
like
She-Hulk.
It's literally like a little just the fingers shame.
Yeah.
It's like
that made no sense for a show based on the law, or at least it claims to be. That made no sense, man.
I understand it's a comedy show, but like that was just ridiculous.
I know.
It wasn't even...
I was sitting there, I'm like, bro, she don't, yo, free my boy. She don't deserve that much.
She don't deserve that much. That was crazy. But yeah, I agree. It was ridiculous. And then of course it led to, finding out about the intelligentsia meeting. Nikki, first, again, I was like, Nikki sus when she was,
I know, dude.
when she
started
found out about the video.
Yeah,
I was like,
she's like, forgive me. I'm like, bro, she
bad.
Is the whole,
I know, she may be like, and then she was just trying to infiltrate the place by posting that college video of Jen, which was
shout
so
out
stupid.
Freaking Pug.
Like,
honestly, dude, the more I saw of him, the more I loved him. He was hilarious. Like, he just didn't know how to act like a terrible person. Yeah. Nepotism. Yeah. That's so funny.
It was funny but dumb.
Yeah, it was so dumb. But I thought it was very funny.
Yeah. Oh, Pug.
Honestly, dude, I was expecting a twist with Pug, if I'm being honest.
Pug was the main villain, and we know he's great at being a villain.
Yeah.
That would have been so much better,
I know.
Honestly.
Dude, I feel like they wasted his potential, too.
For sure.
We've seen how good of an actor he is, how good he is.
Good. Very talented.
In the role, like, he was an Ariel.
Right.
I mean,
been so much
bring
potential.
Pug back.
We're both bringing up
Make
her waters
Pug work
at
Matt Murdock's law firm.
Right.
That's what I say.
I mean, something cool like that. I mean, if he would have been a villain, I think that would have been so much cooler, honestly, because he could play it so well.
Play dumb, dude, and then be a freaking mastermind.
And then he could have been the mastermind hulking. They could have made a big reveal. It would have been so much cooler.
Mm.
And they just fumbled the ball like they have, been
fumbled it, man,
continuously. Oh, of course. And then, of course, we see Jen wanting to, she's like, I'm done. I'm moved back in with my parents. And then she's like texting Emil, and she's like, hey, your offer's still good to come stay with you. She goes up there to the retreat, stays the Wrecking Crew guy. By the way, that story went nowhere with the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
I
know. I mean, let's spend a little time on this too. Why would they introduce that? Like that, this just went absolutely nowhere. I know, season 2, probably coming, but dude, nothing happened.
As big of characters as Wrecking Crew are and could have been to this show, as pivotal as they could have been, they completely ruined it. Like,
I know.
It was like they went from fumbling to ball to continuous interceptions and using football terms because go Vols. But
anyway, they got blown out in their own home stadium.
Exactly. Ridiculous.
Not even a field goal.
Exactly. And that's what they did. And it just makes me so frustrated.
Like, by the way, here's one episode where they have all these Asgardian stuff, and then they're just not going to show up again. But probably in the future. But you know what? They look nothing like they do in the comics.
Nothing like the comics. They're a bunch of stupid has-beens.
They're a bunch of teenagers.
Exactly.
Young
Except
guys.
with one dude,
Yeah, I don't know,
that has a great mustache. But, it's like...
great mustache.
I mean, I don't know.
It's pretty nuts. But
again, to move on to that, you find out that Abomination's the one holding the intelligentsia meeting with Hulk King.
Yeah.
Hulk King gets the blood. He turns into this stupid-looking Hulk.
Listen, I was enraged. Like, I was kind of sitting there. I'm like, all right, we're halfway done with the episode. I won't have to talk about this no more after this.
Exactly.
And then he freaking transforms. I'm like,
in my mind, I was like, what is this show gone to? And then of course, it spirals out of control.
So bad. The CGI did not look good.
Horrible, which I know that they did that on purpose. I know that.
Yeah,
but still, it was awful. Horrible plot. But anyway, we know why, what it's leading to.
Which I have a bone to pick with that.
I have a lot of bones to pick with everything. But anyway, and of course, She-Hulk's like, what's he doing? He's Hulk King. Duh.
Yeah.
And then
he's sitting there holding a meeting.
I know. And then he's like, Emil's Abomination. duh.
Yeah.
He didn't save no chickens.
I know. And this part, I mean, and it wasn't even Abomination. It was still just a meal in Abomination's body.
Exactly.
Like,
and he literally ended up saving her.
I know.
Why didn't they make him bad?
Yeah.
They had the potential.
Like since when does a meal have like full sanity and control over Abomination?
I know. And like
he don't.
Listen, I love his character. I love Emil Blonsky. I love Abomination and that whole centric idea. But making him good is the most stupid decision they could have made because he is such a good villain that he could be. And they fumbled it again.
Yeah.
Another fumble.
They got like 12 right now.
They got 12. We need a counter.
The callers just don't know what to say. They've shut up. They're like, we're just not going to talk about this game anymore.
The refs are done. The coaches are done. I'm
walking
done.
You've walked out.
It's just...
Yeah, but he is so central to so many storylines. You know, not even just the Hulk.
Exactly.
He is a major villain.
He could be a thunderbolt.
And especially after all this time, there's so much stuff in this show that teased that Emil Blonsky was turned into Abomination. Not just that, there's something more at foot. And we found out, yes, obviously, he's been turned to Abomination, but he's still good. He just does it for the people.
He just does it to try to for therapeutic retreat.
Yeah, it's like...
That was so dumb.
I was hoping that like he was gonna turn evil and then inspire others like to do that too.
I was hoping that he would like
that.
you know, be part of the intelligentsia, which, you know, I've got theories about the intelligentsia we'll talk about later, but still, it just did not work like that. But again, we know why it went this way. And then of course we gotta say Titania randomly shows up, and I, you know, just again wanted to throw my phone at the screen.
I kind of threw up a little bit. Does this even know how to use a door? What
was she been doing there? What? And then of course Bruce falls in.
How did she know? How did she know?
How did Bruce know? He was in space.
And then Bruce is like,
he falls in. He's like, I'm here for my cousin.
I'm like, bro, what is that? And then he starts finding Abomination
under unsolved premises. And then of course you get the craziness of Jen Walters going, what is going on? What is this craziness? And then everybody in the world thought their Disney Plus messed up.
I did too. I literally paused it.
No, I did. I was like,
I paused
because my mom was in the room talking or something, and then I was like, "Did you press the remote?" I literally asked her that. Did you press the remote? Did you pause? Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, "Did you? What happened?" And then of course you see Jen Walters kicking out of She-Hulk, and I was like, "What?" Okay, this blew my mind. I straight up.
I mean, you're looking at the Disney Plus software.
Like it blew my mind. Like when I say it blew my mind, it blew my mind.
I know. It blew your mind. I was just, dude, I paused it and I thought it wasn't. So I played again, but I didn't give it a done. So I paused it again. And I'm like,
what's going on?
What?
And then, of course, I will have to say props to Marvel for this, because this truly was the biggest fourth wall break of history of television and movies.
I mean, you got to see that their lives are just entertainment.
Exactly.
Like, you got to see what we see them doing.
We got to see them doing what they do when she broke out into our world, even though it wasn't our world. It was in the show.
It was in. Whoa! Michael. It's 11. You can't. It's 11 o'clock at night. You can't be laying these.
I can't be blowing minds.
I'm gonna be staying up. We were watching her break into the world that they've created for her. That we're watching her regular life in. So is it our regular life then? Like, if she's that woke about it.
She knows about Heroes in the Moment.
She knows about us.
She knows about us.
She looked at us. She knows we watch.
What's going on? She was talking to me and you.
Yeah.
And everyone else.
And us.
And
as
the
a family.
World as a group. Beyond
dude, there's layers to that, man.
There's so many.
There's layers to that.
But anyway, again,
holy
biggest fourth wall break.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Time.
It was not expecting that. No. Props to Marvel for having the balls to do.
I texted you before. After I watched the episode, I was like, dude, forget everything you think you know, and just
I texted
watch
back. I was like, okay. I thought you meant like a Hulk versus Abomination actual fight. I was like, all right, I'm prepared, I was like, I've, heard Daredevil rumored. I'm excited to see some heroes. And then this happened, and I was like, bro, Michael was right.
I was like, forget it.
Michael's right.
It was beyond. And then, of course, she breaks out. She ends up jumping in Marvel's Assembled, which is literally their show based off of like documentaries that show how shows are made,
how they're made, and like she's looking at like the other projects too.
Yes,
like she's naming the other product,
and there's so many references we got to break down, and we're gonna break them all down for you, of course. And she's walking through the studio, like going through. She's like, "What's going on?"
That's actually the real one I was reading.
It was.
That's like the real. I think
Burbank,
like Burbank,
California.
in Cali.
Yeah, well,
and that was
the real Marvel Studios, but of course it's obviously filmed in Atlanta, the shows and movies and stuff. But this is like their Marvel headquarters in Atlanta, or not Atlanta.
Like that was actually
Burbank.
legit. Yeah,
yeah, it was completely legit. Walking through there. And then, of course, she walks up to the She-Hulk's writer's desk, and I'll let you take the reins from here because I know you have a lot to say.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm confused why she's not flipping out in the first place. You know, we've seen her, break the fourth wall before, but now we've seen her enter a whole new reality.
Right.
And she's just like so casual with it. I'm like,
not even shocked.
Has she always had this ability to
right.
What's to stop her from doing this anytime something bad happens?
My theory is like, if she can break the fourth wall to that extent, does her character actually know she can break the fourth wall, or does she just do it and not realize it when she comes back into character? How does that work?
I don't know.
Because like, why wouldn't she just be like, we're all run by Kevin? It's like the Matrix. Like,
why wouldn't she just go back and spill the beans?
Exactly.
It has to be she didn't remember,
right?
Or she didn't even think about it. Like, it was just natural for her character to do that. But
right.
Anyway, she walks through that thing and she gets to these riders, and you see all these notes on the billboard. You have all these riders around with laptops with notes. They're figuring out the ending of the show, season 2. She walks and she's like, guys, what is happening? And the writers are just sitting there writing the show, bro. Like,
exactly.
What?
And they literally made fun of their own show about like how bad it is. Did you notice that? Like, it's going nowhere. It doesn't make sense.
It's going nowhere.
It's too much plot
It didn't make sense.
It's the same thing that Marvel's continuously been doing. Villain comes to power. Comes to stop
she's like, real original.
Real original.
He's like, well, every superhero story has to have.
Which actually, like, I completely agreed with everything that she was saying.
Yeah.
And then I just thought it was stupid that they had to do this for their show. Like, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, and here,
just make a good show.
Here is this is the biggest problem I think both of us, me and Michael, have with this show. If this is true, if this is their intention all along, they intentionally planned, this huge corporation planned to make a 9-episode series bad. They plan to make the plots bad. They plan to make the character developments bad. They plan to make all the stories bad. So, in the last episode, they could explain it was the writer's fault. Like that. What's the lie? That doesn't help your show at all. My friends have turned off the show after 2-3 episodes. This sucks. They're not going to stick around episode 9 here. It was the writers the whole time.
Legitimately,
what?
It's legitimately the definition of a parody. Is what She-Hulk was.
Yeah.
A legitimate parody instead of an actual show invented for our enjoyment. And yes, I understand, like, it's her writing her own rules, her creating her own reality, her creating her own show. But it just didn't make sense. Like, it almost felt like, when she broke that fourth wall to that extent, which I thought was awesome and super cool. Don't get me wrong. That was cool. However, when she did that, I also felt like, it made me feel like, when you watch these shows and these movies, you get immersed in these worlds and you feel like you're a part of them.
Yeah.
And this made me feel like, it wasn't real. You know what
I
mean?
It wasn't real anymore. Like,
exactly.
now you're looking like eye to eye with her.
You're looking like I'm watching my world now.
Yeah.
Instead of, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. That's how crazy it is.
I would just turn like CNN or like Fox News.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, fans like us, we look at it for entertainment, for maybe some kind of escape,
exactly,
whatever's going on. And the minute, not saying, obviously, we're not saying fourth wall breaks are bad.
No,
but that level of extent, personally, I feel like it downplayed everything that ever happened.
Exactly.
When she walks into Kevin and it's showing like Thanos and Endgame and everything, it's like,
that's another thing. Like Tony Stark's death,
like nothing mattered.
Undermined it again.
Nothing mattered. Like the whole time.
Phase 4, which again, as a mega Tony fan, this is infuriating. But in all of Phase 4, it's like they've been undermining Endgame and what occurred and Tony Stark's death. But again, it first started in Loki when, of course, the Infinity Stones were paperweights.
Yeah.
And then it goes off to, of course, now She-Hulk. showing that none of this is actually real. It's just
like,
entertainment.
by the way, I could not made him die.
Exactly.
Or we could have rewritten that. Or if I was there in the battle, I just would have broke the wall and deleted the movie Endgame from existing.
Exactly.
Like,
and it's just sad. It makes you sad.
I just wish there was some other like crazy fourth wall break they could have done. Like, honestly, we both hate how they, undermined everything that they've written so far, and how they made 6 episodes bad on purpose to show that she can go to a different reality. Like,
dude, yeah.
That's just, it's not a viable excuse to make your show bad and to break the wall and then blame the writers in the world for making it bad.
Sure, it's fascinating and it's never been done before. Like, that's for sure. But it's just not, didn't feel right. It just wasn't,
It's like killing somebody, right? And then, I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically just expecting something to happen. Like, they're dead. It's
essentially
weeks go by. They're like, they're dead. And then finally,
they're back.
This person has the power to bring him back to life.
Exactly.
I'm not going to watch a week where the character is just like dead.
Like, oh, this is what I want to happen. And it happens, just like making your own. That's just not what it should be.
It's
and
not.
Makes me so sad.
We could have written that so much better, man.
Dude. I could have wrote the whole She-Hulk show so much better. Dude, She-Hulk would have been like peak if I could have wrote it. But anyway.
Yeah, why not just abandon the bad storylines and make it fun in the first place and do something good?
Exactly.
And then she breaks the wall, like, oh, I like this. How about we add this little flair? Pop back in. Boom, something even cooler.
Ridiculous.
To enhance it.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, of course, to go through that, after she gets out of the writing room, we know they find out about Kevin. And at that point, I was like, whoa.
I was like, are we going to see
Kevin Feige?
Out.
I was freaking out too.
I legit thought I was going to see Kevin Feige.
I legitimately thought. But he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, he refused even to lend his voice to the robot.
I'm assuming he just doesn't think he's a good actor and doesn't think he'd be good on screen.
But also, like, that would just be weird.
Yeah, to see him.
We literally just talked about, making it not seem real. If you see the actual head of Marvel Studios in a project, you're like, all right,
So part of me, I was a little bit disappointed when I actually saw the Kevin robot. I really wanted to see Kevin Feige, but then I was like, I like the way they
makes
did it better.
sense. It makes sense.
But they did give him the signature hat, the robot. So that was cool in and of itself there. But again, that whole scene was kind of dumb. I mean, it was cool when she came in and she was like watching the whole MCU, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. And then of course she's talking to him, is like, why my show bad? How can we improve it? And it's like, this is how I wanted it to go. And it's like, that's so dumb.
I know. And you realize everything that's happened is because of a robot,
right?
And honestly, Winter Soldier,
like, I can't
happen
see,
because of a robot's AI.
Realistically, I can't see Kevin Feige being like, "Yeah, this is the good way to go." Knowing Kevin Feige,
Kevin Feige. Dude, listen, if I was head, I would shut this idea down. Like you said,
exactly.
It downplays all the big projects,
right?
All the huge deaths we've seen, the massive stakes we've seen, all the Avengers, the Great Guardians of the Galaxy, the Captain America films, the Iron Man films. It tunes them down so much because, most importantly, there was a robot in a room deciding what happens
and how it's
for an entertainment.
Right, exactly. So dumb.
But
at least we got some cool references, and we'll break those down right now. And of course, she's talking to Kevin, and then she's like, "Why is this happening in my show? Why is this, that, and those?"
Yeah.
And then he's talking back, and of course, and then she's like, how did Bruce just show up? And then she's like, well, we were going to explain the whole reason he went to Sakaar in this episode and all this stuff. And it's like, nah, save it
for the movie.
And I'm like,
I was like, oh,
did this just confirm like another Hulk movie?
I was like, save for the movie.
For sure. As soon as I heard that, I was like, World War Hulk? Are we getting it?
Watch, it's going to be a She-Hulk movie.
No, it's going to be Captain America New World Order is probably what they're going to do.
Listen, man, honestly, yes, but it could work in a World War Hulk film too.
So cool. I was like, that's hype. And of course, she was breaking down like daddy issues and the reasons for that. And then she's like, when were we getting the X-Men? That was hype.
I know.
She was like, yeah, first straight up mention of the X-Men in the MCU.
And then Karen was like, not yet, whatever.
But it was like first ever for sure mention of the X-Men, which was beyond hype.
Fire. It was
that
fire.
Was cool. And then of course the whole banging Matt Murdock joke.
Listen, man, I honestly didn't like that. I didn't like that, not one bit. I know it's funny and I can laugh at it, but like, do not throw around like Matt Murdock's name. Like, Matt Murdock does not exist for like She-Hulk to make jokes about or to bang whatever. Like, Matt Murdock is a messed up dude. He is a great lawyer, but he is I don't know, this hero who takes things too far sometimes, who bears the weight of the world on his shoulders. I don't know, and I just feel like after seeing the Netflix adaptation of him, I don't know, it just feels like I love to see him happy and everything, but like I really hope that they just don't like turn him into a laughing stock. Like we haven't seen any serious. Like he's just been funny the entire time. So
I agree. Which they did him well here, but it's so sad.
I know.
Matt
Murdock, that's the dude that banged She-Hulk.
And then she, of course, gets to make her own finale. She's like, bring Daredevil in, which was cool. But she's like, we don't need Bruce yet. It's my show. Yeah. All this stuff. He doesn't need to turn into Hulk, which was, honestly, Jen, thank you for that.
Thank you. But what's to stop her from doing that with other projects?
Exactly.
Like why can she be like, oh, you remember when this happened? Because she knows Loki happened.
Exactly.
She knows Iron Man happened. She's like, you know what? Let me just keep these characters alive, maybe.
Exactly.
Let me try to make a deal with this robot. I'm not feeling this, bro. I was not feeling it.
It was ridiculous. Like I was enjoying watching it, but at the same time, I was like mad. Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
It's ridiculous.
You liked what you were seeing, but the logistics of it just don't click.
Just don't click. Right.
They don't click with you.
That's it.
So it's like she's bargaining with this robot who, by the way, has no obligation to her or to fulfill her every demand for her show. But yes, thank you, Jen. It seems like you know how to write a better show than your dumb writer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Thank you for taking out the whole Hulking becomes, I don't know, a Hulk plot. That was just atrocious. And the Abomination and then the Hulk, thanks for clearing that mess out.
Yeah, it was just,
I appreciate it.
It was so dumb, and everything about it just makes me want to, I don't know, I guess, I don't know what to describe it as, just like erase every single bit of She-Hulk from my mind.
I mean,
I think that's
it's
the best.
pretty clear. I'm never going back and rewatching this.
No,
like,
well,
even like, listen, man. If I have kids, maybe, and they're dying, I might be the wise guy throughout the world.
Right.
But I'm never, ever, ever in my own free time sitting down and watching this mess.
Yeah, I may watch episode 1. That's it.
Episode 8 just to get it.
And episode 8 just get my Daredevil kick.
But you got you got 3 seasons for that though, and so that
exactly. Like it's so disappointing. And then of course we go back to reality.
Yeah.
Daredevil just pops up. They stop the intelligentsia.
Yeah, that was weird. Like the quick switch, like it was in daylight, but was it even at the?
I know. It just seemed like it was stopped down.
It didn't seem like it was at the retreat.
No,
like,
he wasn't.
Where was it? It went from being at the retreat to somewhere else.
She just wanted him to be there.
She never clarified where it was. But seeing Daredevil, he's like, he just drops out of the sky.
Exactly.
I'm like,
it was literally like she placed him there.
Yeah, no, he just drops out. I'm like, bro, this man cannot fly, but cool. So I'm here to save the day.
it was, yeah. And then it was like, oh, we're good. What? And then Titanium video and the whole thing. Daredevil, hi.
Plus, I will say, it's just weird seeing Daredevil stand in broad daylight,
dude. It
with
is
all these
weird.
people around. That Daredevil almost
would
never
do
does that.
Yeah.
Daredevil, at least in his own show or in the comics, the limited comics I've read, he's never stood out in broad daylight,
especially in the color they used.
Yeah,
like it was so bright that it was like it doesn't make sense, especially in his yellow and red.
I'm not saying he's Batman, but he works at night,
right?
He uses stealth to his advantage. My man is not just walking down the sidewalk without shoes on.
No, it's just, it's so dumb, and
he's too cool for that.
She-Hulk's like, I've taken control back in my life. It's all good now. There's no repercussions. I can be Hulk again or She-Hulk again.
Yeah.
And then we go to the Fast and Furious cookout.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah, family.
As Dom Toretto would say.
You got a big forehead.
But it was like, I'll let you talk about, your reaction to Daredevil in that scene, because you enjoyed that part.
Yeah, I actually did. It's definitely a very rare occasion to see Matt Murdock actually happy. This was not a case where I was like, oh, he's not being true to character. Like, yes, he can be happy. I want him to be happy. He's had a sucky life, Being Daredevil is not easy. But seeing him interact with Jen and just the really weirdness of her family, which it was just, I don't know, man. It was cool to see just a very, not saying we haven't seen him grounded before, but just, a really relaxed, happy, grounded version of Matt, dude. It was wholesome.
It was wholesome.
Wholesome
I agree.
Marvel moment.
It was enjoy to see him, and then of course the family interactions, like how much money, like that's just funny.
Yeah, it was cool. He's like, I don't do it for the money, which is exactly what he's always been saying. Foggy's like, let's get rich, and he's like, listen, There's a lot of people in Hell's Kitchen that need our help. And that's so cool, man.
And they could have been in big law corporations and made tons of money.
Dude, Matt Murdock is the best lawyer probably in Marvel.
He's a great lawyer.
I don't know who else would be better, but
yeah, I know. Like comparison-wise, the only other one's like She-Hulk. So we'll see.
Or his partner.
Who's
working with him?
All foggy. Yeah, it was crazy. To see that, and it was cool. And then of course we get a huge reveal.
Yeah,
huge reveal. Of course, we see Bruce is back, and then initially I was like, okay, is he going to explain? Cool. I was hoping it would explain because we know earlier in the fourth wall break, she was like, we'll save that for the movie. But it did actually explain.
I wasn't expecting
it at all.
But I really do think they could have waited for this scene.
I think they could have. But
they said
it didn't fit in the show.
Explain it in the movie, and then they kind of explain it in the show 5 minutes later, man.
Yeah, I know they don't explain everything because there is a lot of details missing. However, I agree with you. I think it should have been saved for something bigger, or at least it could have been executed better.
Like an end credit scene instead of scene and that maybe Hulk ship come out of the system or Sakaar, and he's like angry. He's World War Hulk or something like that.
Something to that nature would have been cool. But no,
he brings out somebody close to him.
Somebody close to him that we have no idea about.
That we've been
theorizing
we couldn't guess clearly
since episode 1, and that being his son. Scar has come, and which is hope. Hope, dope.
It's so hope.
It's so hope. But no, it brings me hope of a hope movie. But
it was cool to see Scar, but my eyes kind of hurt. First of all, we gotta talk about the CGI. CGI.
Wait. Before we talk about the CGI, I just gotta talk about that hairline,
bro. Listen. Those are the big two things. First of all, listen, me. In my college years, I definitely, I went through a bunch of different hairstyles, shaved sides, everything, long hair, short hair. I did it all, right? And I've seen people do it all. I mean, I went to a state university. You go to the same one now, and I do not think in my life, and this is dead honest, I've ever seen a haircut this terrible. You have a buzz cut for the front half of his head, and then you have hair on the back half. I don't know if it's pulled back or
I think it's a ponytail.
I think, but it's not hair, bro. It's literally starting on the back half of his head. You know how bad LeBron James hairline looks like? Imagine that, but 27 times worse. The man has half buzz cut.
Dude, yes.
It's I don't know, and the CGI, it made him look just like an angsty 14-year-old boy who's confused. And he's just trying to figure out something to make him stand out because his parents don't love him.
It looks why did they not just give him the long hair?
That's what
I don't understand.
Dude, Scar is huge. Scar is as big as a Hulk. Scar.
I mean, I understand they've probably shown him as he's still younger at this point and he's not fully grown. I guess
he looked like a 22-year-old bodybuilder.
He did.
Who was actually 14, just painted green with the worst haircut of all time. I don't know how to cut hair, but I can do better than that, bro.
Mess. Yeah,
I don't know what that man doing, but listen, it was cool to see him. It was cool to see the confirmation. But She-Hulk, man, I understand you guys got a budget. I understand you guys got multiple projects. I understand there's just strict stuff in place. But bro, this was not it.
It was not it. Honestly,
that was not it.
The CGI I can put a little bit of defense, of course, because it was a 5-second clip, less than 5-second clip in a TV show that they don't have the budget for. Also, to backtrack a little bit, they did make fun of the effects in the fourth wall break
when
as
they're
well
there.
On how it's bad and how they're like, oh, we don't have the budget to show you as Hulk the whole time.
See, that was hilarious.
That was funny.
I appreciate that part.
And then also,
we all knew it, but
the VFX department moved on to a different project and they played the Wakanda Forever, Black Panther music. That was actually cool. I will say. But back to him.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm glad they addressed it and then just leave it at, we just put out the best thing we could. Right. By the way, we know this sucked.
They know.
I've never seen Marvel do that before.
We've never seen them call it themselves out, which was so stupid. But anyway, and then of course Scar, just again a little bit of defense. They didn't have the time, and it's just a 3-second clip, and he will look much better in the movies. I just don't know how they're going to fix the horrible
haircut. You could put a wig on that,
please.
Honestly, a long dark black wig,
easy.
But man, Scar is scary. In my opinion, just from the comics, dude, he's scarier looking at least than Hulk. He is absolutely terrifying. Barbaric weapons, just an absolute monster.
Dude, yeah. I completely
and we didn't get
agree.
to see that. So hopefully we'll see that later on.
I hope we'll see some cool stuff, but we'll see. I know that they're leading towards, and again, just to reference the intelligentsia, of course, in the comics, we know the leader started the intelligentsia, the real intelligentsia. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to pull like a kind of a 10 ring scenario, like from Iron Man 3. It was like a made fun recreated one, and then there was a real one in Shang-Chi. I think maybe that kind of thing is the leader going to have the real intelligentsia, and of course, whatever his name, I'm just going to say Daryl. Started or Hulking, whatever his name is, started
Tim.
This version, but it was the real one's coming and going to be built up in Captain America: New World Order. We've seen the theories about it already, and of course, it's going to lead towards multiple Hulks. But we'll see what happens.
I hope so. I haven't heard of that.
All right, so now let's talk about really quickly before we move on to theories and ratings. We got to talk about the end credit scene.
Yeah,
which I honestly wasn't a huge fan of.
Honestly, I forgot what happened. I can't literally, bro. I'm searching my mind. My mind's blank. I watched it.
Right.
I know I watched it.
That's actually funny.
I literally can't remember.
All right, so I will give you a memory refresher. All right, so Wong shows up.
Yeah, I remember.
And gets Emil out of prison.
Yeah.
But this time Emil's like, about time you showed up. Where's the Wi-Fi? It's like, it's different interaction. Like, so did he want this all to happen? Is he bad? But Wong's good, so I don't I was so confused.
This part was weird. Obviously, it just didn't make sense. We already talked about, us not like an Abomination be good, but we didn't mention the fact that he signed the agreement to go back in jail for 10 years for breaking it. Like, I don't know, that just seemed a little weird. But like the minute he gets there, I was like, by the way, we're not going to let him rot in jail more, but by the way, he is still going to be good and learn how to become
I don't know,
better version of himself, maybe a sorcerer or something. I don't feel like this whole Wong Abomination plot is a vibe.
Not anymore. It could have been.
What it would have been better if a Dark Witch or I don't know, literally anybody else with powers who wasn't good was like, I have an offer for you.
I'm telling you right now,
something like that.
It would have been at 10 times.
Oh, Valentina.
If Valentina showed up.
Bro.
I predicted this way back when. I was like, this is going to be in the finale.
But she has power by her way through.
Exactly. If Valentina showed up, been like, hey,
like she's a legit threat politically
exactly.
with that,
If she would have showed up, it would have been so much more hype. Again, more towards more towards Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And another member added to the team. So much more hype. And this may be 13th counter, fumbled the ball again.
Yo, this city is losing their football team. The city's like, listen, man, y'all disgrace. That's 13 fumbles. Bye-bye.
Bye, we're done.
Yeah, no, listen, man, that would have been absolutely perfect. Obviously, we hope we're going to see him in Thunderbolts, but putting him off with Wong instead of the Thunderbolts it's a huge L, honestly. Just put it in middle school terms.
Sighs of depression.
Yeah, dude, just
it's just
Wi-Fi jokes. Like, what's that?
It wasn't funny. All right, so now, of course, we got to get to a little bit of theories. We already kind of theorized throughout the podcast. So we'll keep this part brief so we can get into the ratings of what we're saying. So personally. So theory-wise, again, we talked about the intelligentsia, what it's leading towards Captain America: New World Order. Obviously, I think they're going to lead towards Red Hulk because it's always been theorized that Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
And the latest superhero news is going to be in Thunderbolts and in Captain America: New World Order as Thunderbolt Ross and the Red Hulk. So, which would be cool to see. And then, of course, we already got Scar confirmed. We already got Hulk confirmed. She-Hulk. Maybe a Red She-Hulk. I don't know. What they're going towards.
Yeah,
we'll see. But I have a feeling that hopefully by the way it's talking and the way She-Hulk went, it's leading towards World War Hulk.
It has to be, dude. It has to be.
I hope they don't. Again, I hope they make it really, really good and dark, and they do they just go all out. I really, really hope so. Instead of like She-Hulk again.
They have to. I mean, specifically talking about Scar, save it for the movie. See what Hulk was doing on the planet. That is a World War Hulk movie.
Exactly.
And we pray that we get to see World War Hulk
for sure.
Maybe the Weapon X or the ultimate mutants brought in to take down the Raging Beast.
That would be so high.
Fire.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope again World War Hulk would be so cool, and to see all that come together. And again, it seemed like in the show, in the fourth wall breaks and stuff, it was leading that we're going to get a season 2 of She-Hulk. I don't think it's going to pan over. I don't think they're going to do it. Honestly, I really don't.
Do you think they're planning on it?
I mean, I think they were and they are right now initially, but I don't think it'll go over. I don't think they're going to do it.
There's definitely no need. And
the show had horrible reviews. So
yeah, I know it's terrible reviews. I love going on Instagram, bro.
And just roasting.
And it's like Marvel, and they're like, all episodes streaming now. Open the comments. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, no. I know. Like, the funny was like when the finale is like, check out the finale now. And they're like, yes, the finale. Now it's over. Thank you.
Yeah. I saw one comment that's like, which episode was your favorite? And they're like, bro, I'm just glad it's done.
I'm just glad it's done. I don't want to watch it again. Yeah. But it does not deserve it.
There's no need. You know, her story is firmly set. Next thing she should be in is a legit movie, right? And Captain America New
and she's
World
the only character that needs to come from the show. I don't want to see any of the rest of them again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Honestly, dude, I could vibe with Pug, honestly. Imagine him getting hired all the way over the East Coast as like an assistant.
Daredevil. It's possible. Make it more
so
serious.
Dumb. It was so dumb. But
I
did enjoy it. He was terrible and he was stupid, but I liked his character.
That's fair enough. All right. Now we got to get into our ratings for this show. And then after we do our ratings out of 10, we're going to rank this show among the other Disney Plus shows that have been established in Marvel. So you want to go first? You want me to go first with the ratings?
You go first.
All right, I'll go first. So obviously She-Hulk, rating wise, out of 10, I'm going to hit you with a 9 out of 10. No, I'm completely lying.
I was speechless.
Oh, no.
I'm like, I know he's kidding, but I
still can't comprehend it.
The number 9 associated with the show, unless it was 9 out of like 81.
I'm going to give it, a 3.5 out of 10. Wow. That's low. That's
a 3.5.
3.5 out of 10 for an MCU project.
Wow.
That is so low and baffling that I can say that. It's absolutely deserving of that. I mean, was a horrible show. It did not, I mean, there was like, out of all of it, there was probably like 3 good episodes total. And out of 9, that's not good statistics.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like, I don't do math. But anyway, it's like 33%. There you go. 33% of the show.
I don't do math, bro.
But,
I don't either.
I mean, it just, yeah.
Do you think the finale helped at all?
No.
With the rating?
No.
Or made it worse?
I mean, I don't think it made it worse.
I think the finale made my rating worse, like, to be honest. Because then intentionally they had planned it to be like that. What if they had chosen not to take that route in episode 9 and intentionally planned it to be good? We could have been like 5, 6, 6.5.
I don't think the finale made my rating go worse, but I don't think it improved it either. So
yeah.
Listen,
man, I first of all, I want to say I called that. I saw it coming. I knew you were gonna say 3.5. I just had the feeling. Looking back on it, we're gonna talk about like where it ranks with our other shows too,
oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
All right. Looking back on it, I love Daredevil.
for sure. Highlight. Bruce. Gotta give a shout out to Bruce.
I love Bruce, and you see, like, this is the problem.
Yeah,
and
the problem.
Honestly, dude, I love Jen's dad.
That's fair. I like Jen to an extent, but not when she's overwhelming.
I wasn't even vibing with that. So basically, the best parts about the show, in my opinion, were completely unrelated to the main plot.
Exactly.
So, with that being said, and with the consideration that I gave Thor: Love and Thunder, one of my most recent ratings,
right,
a 4. And given the fact that if you said you can watch Thor: Love and Thunder this season, I would choose Love and Thunder because that's Christian Bale.
Yep.
I would give this show out of a 10. I'd give it a 3.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go a little lower than you. This show is just completely unredeemable.
Now, if you remember, back to a few podcasts ago, it's been a while, when we were talking about She-Hulk predictions, you were like super anticipating She-Hulk.
I gave
you were, like super excited for
this either a 6 or a 7.
You gave it a 7.
7, yeah.
I think I gave it like a 4 or a 3.
Yeah, I think you gave it a 4 or 5. Anyway, it was like literally the first show that I had ranked higher than you because I'm more natural and pessimistic.
Right.
But listen, man, this show truly broke me. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I would put off watching this show as long as I could.
Yeah.
Like, Mom would text me, we're recording here. I would wait until
till
as
like
long
the
as
very
I
last
could.
minute.
And then
to
most of
watch
the time, I'd be so bored. I'd be like checking everything in sight. Like the show was boring. It was dull. The storylines were terrible.
Right.
We got to see character development from Jen. Obviously, Daredevil was a big help in that. A couple of cool cameos. Besides that, all the side plots absolutely sucked. Everything was unrelated. And the worst part about that, this show would have been better if Marvel owned up and like,
Dude, yeah.
yes, these things are bad, and they're just bad because of it. But instead, they give the lame excuse
for sure
that they had this all planned out, and they just wanted to show out you can break the fourth wall and expose this corporation for what it is. Right. That made it worse because that just proved that if they had genuinely tried to write a good show, it could have been possible.
Exactly, could have been easily.
That's in. Like, why am I paying for Disney Plus?
Exactly, I know.
When the writers give us so much better, and they admit it. They admit it too.
They admitted it. And with that being said, with the ratings, we have to make the transition over to ranking by the other Disney Plus shows. And I think I speak for the both of us. It's obviously dead last.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, I detested Miss Marvel. I did not like it. There's
Miss Marvel
good
was
moments.
Decent. Like I could rewatch,
but it was still like it was just not my vibe. Right. But this was just like another step below, man.
Right. I mean, honestly, like again, like we said, Disney Plus shows. Out of all, I don't even know how many there are. Like, is there 7 now? 7, 8?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's last. But in all the MCU, all its projects, all its movies, all of its animated shows, all of its regular Disney Plus shows, it's dead last.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's right there.
You have Thor, Love and Thunder.
And then She-Hulk right below it.
And She-Hulk right below it.
That's it. Yeah. Exactly it.
And I would argue that there's a good bit of difference between the two.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like, a 1.1, a 1.2. Right. I think it's like, a couple points.
Exactly. Like 3.5 out of 10. That's the lowest I've ever rated anything from the MCU wise. And it just, holy cow. What a horrible show.
And Rotten Tomatoes, 85%.
Right. And you guys know me, like, when you listen to the podcast, I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, you like feel-good stories.
Right, I do. And this was not it. This was horrible. I would not recommend this to anyone.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad to think about that because as much as I love Marvel and as much as I love, experiencing new characters, new stories, it was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
And that was disappointing.
I completely agree. And I truly hope that we don't see anything like this in the future.
And honestly, I think from now on, from what we're looking at in the future of the MCU, I think that, we went, peak all the way down to the bottom.
I think it's a slow build up.
Love and Thunder and She-Hulk was bottom,
back to
back bottoms.
Yeah,
and then I think we're gonna go back on the rise.
Yeah, I think Kevin's too smart. He sees the viewership. He sees the ratings.
We already know he listens to the fans from the fourth wall break in She-Hulk finale. So we know. So I think it's gonna go back up with Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man, Secret Invasion.
Dude, listen, you're gonna have the worst project with potentially top 5, top 10. It's gonna be a massive
spike, and then Secret Invasion gonna be probably the best Disney Plus show. So
I hope
we'll see. But as of right now, though, She-Hulk sucks. That's all I gotta say.
You heard it here, folks. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, and if you enjoyed our series breakdown of She-Hulk, check us out. Here's in the Moment. It's available on all major podcast platforms. So check out all our previous episodes. And if you like what you hear, give us a review and give us a download if you don't mind. If you want to stay up to date with all of our announcements and new episodes, check us out on Instagram at Here's in the Moment and TikTok at Here's in the Moment with an extra T. Feel free to check out all our previous episodes. We not just do Marvel, but also Star Wars, DC, Harry Potter, all that jazz. So check it out.
Yeah, so we just want to thank y'all for listening. And as always, we love you 3000.